The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Carl Jung. What if the greatest act of love isn't giving yourself to others, but finally returning to yourself? Hidden beneath every decision you make, there's one you keep avoiding: to stop performing and start remembering who you are. They told you authenticity was selfish. They were wrong. It's sacred, because the moment you choose yourself, the whole illusion begins to collapse. Hold this line. What comes next flips everything you've been taught about freedom. Most people wake up every day already halfway into a performance they never auditioned for. They rush through choices that look free but aren't: coffee or tea, sneakers or shoes, but never who am I really being today? Society trained them to forget that question, and that forgetfulness is the quiet root of their restlessness. He pauses. Think about it. How often do you act from habit rather than heart? We inherit scripts from parents, teachers, and culture that tell us what a good life should look like. But none of them can breathe for you. None can feel the pulse of your own truth. The choice to be yourself has been buried under layers of politeness and fear. Choosing yourself isn't rebellion, it's remembrance. It's the moment you stop asking permission to exist. Some call it selfish, but it's actually the most innocent act there is: returning to your original design before the world edited you. That's why children seem fearless, because they haven't yet forgotten who they are. Take 10 seconds now. Close your eyes and ask, what part of me have I been outsourcing to approval? That small silence plants the seed of freedom. Because the instant you remember you have a choice, the game of pretending begins to crumble. And that's exactly where we're going next. There comes a day when you stop performing for the invisible crowd in your head. You know the one, the mental audience that claps when you fit in and falls silent when you don't. For years, you shaped yourself for their applause. But the curtain eventually drops, and you realize the theater was never real. Only your exhaustion was. The moment you stop playing to them, you start breathing differently. There's a strange peace in not needing to impress anyone. You notice how many of your choices were really bids for validation. What to post, what to wear, even what to believe. And as that awareness grows, you begin reclaiming the energy once spent on pretending. It feels unsettling at first. Like walking out of a costume party half-dressed while everyone else keeps dancing. But then something soft appears beneath the awkwardness. Ease. You start enjoying your own company. You laugh without rehearsing the right tone. You realize authenticity isn't an act of pride. It's an act of surrender. So here's a thought. If pretending kept you safe, what might honesty make possible? Hold that question for a moment. Because when we stop pretending, a new misunderstanding usually appears. The world starts calling authenticity selfish. And that confusion is where our next step begins. It's funny how quickly society labels peace as selfishness. The moment someone stops apologizing for their joy, the world frowns. You've changed, they say, as if growing back into your own skin were a crime. But choosing yourself doesn't mean rejecting others. It means ending the war against your own nature. Self-alignment isn't about isolation. It's the opposite. When a person stops fighting who they are, they finally have energy to give without resentment. Think about it. A river that flows naturally nourishes everything it touches. But when it's dammed by guilt and expectation, it stagnates. Authenticity restores the current. The ego's favorite trick is convincing you that being true to yourself harms someone else. Yet what actually harms is the lie, living small to make others comfortable. When you honor your truth, You become more compassionate, not less, because your actions rise from clarity instead of obligation. So the next time guilt whispers, "You're being selfish," smile gently. You're not pulling away from life, you're returning to it. And the deeper you relax into that truth, the freer you become. Which brings us to something most people misunderstand entirely: what freedom really feels like. If this is hitting close to home, take a second, like the video, subscribe, and stay with me. What comes next goes even deeper. Most people chase freedom like a finish line, something to win after years of tension. But freedom isn't found through effort. It begins the moment effort drops. Real relaxation isn't lying on a beach or zoning out on a couch. It's the quiet state of no resistance, when the inner critic finally goes silent and life moves through you instead of against you. You've felt glimpses of it, haven't you? That effortless moment when you lose track of time, painting, walking, or talking with someone who sees you. No analysis, no performance, just flow. That's your natural state before worry hijacks it. The mind loves control, but control and freedom can't share the same space. Try this. Breathe slowly in and out. Notice how the body knows what to do without instruction. That's how existence itself works: self-moving, self-correcting, perfectly timed. When you live like that, decisions stop feeling heavy. You stop asking, "Am I enough?" and start realizing you already are. And yet, even as freedom unfolds, old voices tend to echo back. The ones that once told you what's right, what's wrong, and who you should be. They whisper like ghosts of your past identity. Listening to them is optional, but first you need to recognize where they come from. Listen closely to your thoughts for a day. You'll hear an entire committee inside your head. One voice says, "You should be working harder." Another whispers, "Don't upset anyone." None of them are really you. They're echoes of teachers, parents, and a culture obsessed with control. Conditioning hides itself by pretending to be conscious. Most of what we call thinking is actually repetition. Old recordings looping endlessly, warning, scolding, advising. And you've obeyed them so long that silence feels suspicious, almost wrong. But the moment you see those voices as inherited programs, not divine truth, something inside you exhales. You realize awareness breaks hypnosis. It's like wearing clothes that never fit, but calling them fashion. You move awkwardly, constantly adjusting, pretending they're comfortable because everyone else wears the same style. Choosing yourself is the moment you drop the disguise and stand bare before life. Unashamed, real light. For the first time, the air touches your skin. Yet, when you finally stop echoing the world, something strange happens. The world starts echoing back in protest. People who once praised your good behavior may call you difficult, distant, or strange. And that reaction is the next threshold every authentic soul must face. The moment you begin living from truth, the world starts shifting around you. Some people lean in curious. Others pull away unsettled. Why? Because authenticity is contagious and also confronting. It quietly exposes what others still hide from themselves. Your freedom reminds them of their mask, and few people like mirrors that clear. At first, you'll try to explain. You'll want to prove you're not arrogant or cold. But that effort drags you right back into the old game, seeking validation from the very system you outgrew. The ones meant to stay will recognize your peace. The rest will call it pride. Let them. Silence is sometimes the loudest integrity. This backlash isn't punishment, it's purification. Every reaction teaches you who's aligned with your essence and who's attached to your old persona. It's like shedding a snakeskin. It feels raw, vulnerable, but necessary. Because each layer that falls away reveals more of the life force beneath. So don't fear the rejection. See it as proof you've stopped auditioning. Those who misread your calm will soon be replaced by souls who resonate with it. And that's where the real work begins, not in explanation, but in practice. The daily practice of choosing yourself again and again. Choosing yourself isn't a one-time declaration. It's a morning ritual of remembrance. Every day the world will invite you to forget, to trade truth for comfort, to rejoin the collective performance. And every day you get to pause, breathe, and ask, am I living for myself today or for them? That single question keeps the soul awake. Some days you'll feel aligned, steady, almost weightless. Other days, old fears will return dressed as logic, voices whispering, don't stand out, or you'll lose people. That's normal. Growth doesn't erase fear. It teaches you to walk beside it without being led by it. Courage isn't loud, it's consistent. Try this small practice. Before you speak or decide, pause for 3 seconds. Feel whether your body expands or contracts. Expansion says yes, contraction says no. It's a simple compass, older than reason. The more you trust it, the more life starts responding in kind. Doors open, timing aligns, resistance softens. And over time, something remarkable happens. You realize the self you keep choosing isn't separate from anything. It's the same current that moves the stars and breathes the trees. That's where we're headed next, the quiet moment when the personal self dissolves into something infinite. At some point you stop seeing yourself as an isolated island and start sensing the ocean beneath it. The wave doesn't vanish when it realizes it's water. It just stops fearing the tide. That's what happens when you finally choose yourself without resistance. You discover that what you've been choosing all along is life choosing through you. Alan Watts once said, "You are the universe looking at itself." When that sinks in, the anxiety of separation begins to fade. Death loses its sharp edge. Rejection feels smaller. You stop trying to control outcomes because you sense the larger intelligence already at work. It's like exhaling after holding your breath for decades. From that awareness, compassion flows naturally. You no longer love to complete yourself. You love because you recognize yourself everywhere. The bird outside, the stranger in traffic, the friend who misunderstood you. They're all waves of the same sea. That recognition ends the inner war. It's peace without effort. And yet, this peace doesn't make you passive, it makes you whole. From wholeness, action becomes clear, work becomes play, and healing begins by itself. Because once illusion dissolves, energy returns home. And that healing is the next revelation waiting to UNF. Old. When you stop pretending, healing doesn't come as lightning, it comes as sunlight. Quiet, steady, and real. Your relationships start to shift first. People who once drained you fade naturally, and those who speak the same truth begin to appear. It's not magic, it's resonance. You no longer connect through masks, but through essence. Work begins to feel different too. You start saying yes only when your soul agrees, and no without guilt. Purpose stops being a search and becomes a flow. The energy you used to spend managing impressions now fuels creation. That's why authenticity feels lighter. It doesn't leak power. Even the body responds. The shoulders drop, breath deepens, headaches ease. It's as if your nervous system finally believes you're safe because you've stopped lying to yourself. The inner war ends, and the body celebrates by relaxing. Healing isn't something you do. It's what happens when you stop doing what hurts. And in that stillness, a deeper clarity emerges. Every moment is another doorway. You can return to the mask or keep walking as truth. That choice never disappears. It's waiting in every breath, every word, every heartbeat. And that's where our final step leads, the ultimate decision that defines a lifetime. In the end, every soul meets a simple crossroads. Keep wearing the mask or walk as yourself. The first path feels safer, familiar, full of smiles that cost too much and silences that ache. But safety is expensive when it costs your aliveness. Pretending buys approval at the price of peace, and that's a trade no spirit can sustain forever. The other path is quieter, narrower, but it breathes. It doesn't promise applause, it promises truth. Walking it means losing illusions about people, comfort, control, but gaining something the world can't give back: yourself. Every authentic step feels like a homecoming you didn't know you'd been missing. It's not a decision made once and done. It's made every morning, every moment you refuse to betray your own knowing. There's no ceremony, no drumroll, just a quiet click inside when alignment replaces fear. From there, even chaos begins to move with rhythm, like the universe nodding in approval. So here's the real secret. Choosing yourself isn't the end of a journey. It's the beginning of real life. Because when you live from the silent center of your being, no storm can touch it. And from that stillness, a new world starts to form, one that moves exactly as you do. So here you are, standing at the quiet edge of everything you were taught to be. The noise has faded, the masks have fallen, and what remains is astonishingly simple. You, unedited, unperformed, undeniably alive. Don't wait for permission to return to yourself. Do it now. Start small. One honest word, one real breath, one decision made without fear. That's how entire lives change, one truth at a time. If this message stirred something in you, share it. Not to convince anyone, but to remind those who've started to forget. And if you're walking this path too, subscribe, turn the bell on, and stay close, because we're only at the beginning of what awareness can reveal. Tell me, when was the last time you truly chose yourself? The next video on your screen continues exactly there. Follow it and keep walking home.